Welcome to our 2021 annual meeting. Thank you for joining us virtually today. My name's Melissa Matassa-Stone, and I serve as the board president for the United Way of Missoula County. Thank you for joining us. This past year, while we've all Zoomed everywhere, there have been so many opportunities for United Way to support our community, including our COVID-19 Emergency Assistance Fund. Thanks to many of you for contributing to that. Starting Missoula Substance Use Disorder Connect, planning for our 90th anniversary celebration this summer, embedding 0 to 5 in Missoula this year, and distributing our 200,000th Imagination Library book. I also really enjoyed participating in the May and September Days of Action with projects at a native plant garden here in Missoula and at Travelers Rest. It was great to volunteer and really feel that sense of community in person, although masked and socially distant outdoors. We're very grateful to be joined today by Senator Jon Tester through video. And after that, our CEO, Susan Hay Patrick, will carry it forward. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you for inviting me to share a few words. I am sorry that I couldn't be with you today. A well-earned congratulations to the United Way of Missoula County for 90 years of service to the community. This is a huge milestone, and you've got a lot to celebrate. You all know better than most that the COVID-19 pandemic has tested our communities in so many ways. And United Way, just as it has for the last 89 years, didn't miss a beat stepping up to respond to the needs of Missoulians during this public health crisis. In 2020 alone, United Way of Missoula distributed more than $400,000 in assistance to individuals and organizations affected by COVID. And beyond the current health emergency, United Way continues to develop innovative approaches that get to the root causes of long-standing community challenges: homelessness, improving the lives of young kids and families, preventing suicide, addressing substance use, and even reducing wildfire risk for homes in the wildland-urban interface. I've been proud to work with you to help support your vital work. United Way sits at a critical intersection of our nonprofits, our faith community, our healthcare providers, our schools, and our citizen volunteers to make Missoula a stronger, healthier, and more equitable community. Thank you for all who have made this past year possible. The board and staff of United Way of Missoula, the private businesses and private supporters, and all of the volunteers. And a special thank you to CEO Susan Hay Patrick and board president Melissa Matassa-Stone. Best wishes on another 90 years, and please stay in touch.
Wow, that was great. Thank you, Senator Tester. And I think Deb Franzen from Senator Tester's office is with us today. So thank you, Deb. We really, I think nonprofits, including United Way, function best when we are partners with government. And I think Senator Tester understands that completely and demonstrates that. And certainly I am proud to see government reclaiming its historic role in making a difference in the lives of vulnerable people. And I am grateful to Senator Tester for being part of that. My notes say that I am to give you highlights of our work in the last year. And I will begin by saying that 2020 was perhaps the most unusual year in United Way's 90-year history. It was challenging, it was taxing, it was traumatic. It was a year that we are not sorry to see the back of, but it also came with opportunity and some bright spots. And I think I will start just by thanking all of you and the hundreds of others who aren't here today. I always joke, by the way, that we should call our annual meeting like a dance party so we would get more people here. But thank you for coming to our dance party. But thanks to all of the people who made possible our response to COVID-19. we really were a focal point of Missoula's response to the pandemic. And even though at United Way, we like to judge our success by lives changed and conditions improved as opposed to just numbers and dollars, the numbers and the dollars were impressive. $330,000 distributed to 825 service and gig economy workers affected by the pandemic. 10,000 face masks donated and distributed and cleaned, thanks to the good folks at Missoula Textiles for cleaning them for us for free. $64,000 in emergency childcare assistance, thanks to Providence, Headwaters, and Missoula County. $35,000 in grants to some of our longtime trusted nonprofit partners. $40,000 in housing assistance deployed to keep people housed or connect them immediately to housing, thanks to Missoula County and Wells Fargo. $10,000 to meet the technology needs of the remote learning centers and hubs that were set up when school wasn't fully operational. And then, of course, the temporary safe outdoor space for unhoused Missoulians, a safe, healthy, secured, staffed environment on private land that serves with dignity people experiencing homelessness. Over 4 months, 53 people have been assisted. About 25% of them have moved into permanent housing. Everyone is in case management. People are taking steps to move forward in their lives of greater health, greater self-sufficiency. It's an outcome that has served the residents well, and I believe it has served Missoula well. I do want to address briefly an editorial in today's Missoulian that some of you may have read that talks about sort of efforts to keep this program in the dark and to basically sort of skulk around and deny the public the chance to comment. And I believe that the reality is somewhat different. First of all, transparency and engagement are United Way values that we practice every day. We are proud of our work in those areas and our commitment to those values. But not every half-baked idea needs to be publicly aired. And I do think that there is value in solutions, not just in complaining about problems, but in solutions. And I was part of an effort, and I stand by it, to convene a smaller group of selected but diverse stakeholders. And let's face it, we all are stakeholders in the problem of homelessness in Missoula, because we all benefit when we live in a community where people are housed. So at my, I would say, instigation, we have convened a leadership roundtable of diverse business and community leaders to talk about amplifying the goals of reaching home, Missoula's 10-year plan to end homelessness, including perhaps transitioning the temporary safe outdoor space from a temporary solution to a more permanent fixture, a transitional housing alternative for unhoused people in Missoula. We think it's a smart thing to do. We think it's a better return on investment of community and private dollars. And sometimes when there are too many cooks in the kitchen and a lot of voices at the table, the best policy doesn't result and progress grinds to a halt. So we're going to continue to practice our values of inclusion and transparency, but not everything is going to be public as we figure out solutions. We welcome everybody to join us, because for far too long, we have treated shelter as the answer to homelessness when the answer to homelessness is housing. If any of you have any questions about that or about the editorial in the paper, I am happy to respond to them. Moving on, just back to our COVID response briefly.
Susan, just make it clear it wasn't the Missoulian's opinion.
Yeah.
It was a guest opinion.
Right. Thank you. No, I generally am support the Missoulian editorial board, including my board member, publisher Jim Strauss. Thank you for speaking up. In terms of our the rest of our COVID response, and I'll touch on some of our other work for our Missoula Nonprofit Center and our Project Tomorrow Montana. Our staff served on or chaired virtually every Missoula County or statewide task force that was appointed in response to COVID-19. Economic development, emergency childcare, mental health, volunteers and fundraising, the COVID reopening working group, the Montana Nonprofit Association's Rapid Response Task Force, and the Safer Missoula campaign to encourage people to wear masks and practice social distancing. So I am incredibly proud of our team and of all the work that they did during COVID-19, and just profoundly grateful to all of you for making that possible. You know, you are our members, and everything we do because of you. Other highlights, you know, our regular day-to-day work continued, and hats off to my amazing team of United Way colleagues for not missing a beat, working from home since March 16 of 2020, and not missing a beat in terms of their energy, their enthusiasm, and their accomplishments. So Melissa mentioned our days of action. We did our little sort of individually focused volunteer days of action in June and September with more than 50 people volunteering around town. We moved our events to online, and I think our events are fun and engaging, as fun and engaging as they can be via a Zoom format. During the pandemic, we certainly, again, one of these problems that COVID didn't create, but highlighted, mental health and suicide in our community. Our Project Tomorrow Montana Suicide Prevention Initiative really stepped up its work as people struggled with depression and mental health. And right now you can see our Projected Hope digital art installation downtown after dark, projected on the First Montana Bank building, images of help and hope and encouragement geared particularly to the LGBTQIA community, a population that suffers disproportionately from depression and suicidal tendencies. So please come down, and it's not too late to submit your own photo of why you are living for tomorrow. You can do that at ProjecttoMorrowMT.org. Our 0 to 5 Missoula County, making life better for our youngest citizens and their families during that time of life where most brain development occurs and where we invest the least as a society. Yeah, thanks for projecting our logos on so I don't forget anything. One of the things that we are so proud of that we are just launching, the Parent Leadership Training Institute, which is a civic leadership course that can help parents increase their advocacy and organizing skills, parents, caregivers, and others who care about the well-being of children. This can empower and accelerate them into leadership roles across the community. And our Early Learning Fellows program, which is creating a cross-sector, cross-system network of professionals who work with young children and families. And of course, we also conducted Missoula's second kindergarten entry assessment. And again, ongoing work that we engage in, because a healthier Missoula starts with healthier kids 0 to 5. I talked about our 10-year plan to end homelessness. We strengthen our relationship with the plan, which is now housed at the city of Missoula. One of the things COVID highlighted, at least for me, was the need to better communicate the realities of who is homeless and why, and about the challenges and solutions that are available to us. So we've launched a new quarterly newsletter, and just this morning, our leadership roundtable for Reaching Home that I alluded to earlier met. And it is a very diverse, wonderful group. I see Jana Lundquist has joined us. She facilitated the meeting of business, community people, people with lived experience, law enforcement, mental health professionals, frontline service providers to support the 10-year plan to end homelessness, to build capacity, to identify and strategically deploy community resources, to educate the community about solutions and challenges, and to act on agreed upon solutions that can make homelessness in Missoula rare, brief, and non-recurring. It was a wonderful way to start the day. Another highlight of 2020 and this, very challenging year was launching Missoula SUD Connect, Substance Use Disorder Connect, to address substance use, particularly meth, through prevention, treatment, and support for those in recovery. We know we are not going to arrest our way out of the meth crisis. We landed a major federal grant that has enabled us to start this collaboration and develop a comprehensive community plan to reduce substance abuse, especially meth. There are so far more than 40 business, nonprofit, and government organizations working together. And we are, you will hear more about this. We're in the fledgling stages. We're about to have the first meeting of our leadership roundtable and working groups from our public and private member coalitions. We're very, very excited about this. Imagination Library, we've just distributed our 200,000th Dolly Parton Imagination Library book. This amazing, well, we all know that Dolly Parton is a saint, right? This amazing early learning program that helps kids get to kindergarten with better language and greater social skills than they might otherwise, strengthen bonds between kids and parents and caregivers, because most kids are read to the day they get the book. And there still is something exciting about getting a book in the mail with your name on it. And I know that many of you have kids in our program, and I think can attest to what I am talking about. Our Missoula Nonprofit Center, we are deeply invested in strengthening the capacity of our local nonprofits, more than 100 diverse nonprofits that come together for training, networking, education, workshops, and all the more important during COVID-19 when nonprofits were on the front lines of so much work. We managed to distribute 850 fully stuffed new backpacks to kids, including face masks and hand sanitizer. Even though we had to operate on a reduced schedule due to the pandemic, we still worked with 12 area homeowners over 10 days through our Wildfire Ready Missoula program to reduce wildfire risk in the wildland urban interface. And new in 2021 is Fireline, an NPR podcast. I encourage you to listen to it, that talks about the implications and impact of wildfire in the West, sponsored in part by United Way of Missoula County. It was a busy year. It was, as I said, a traumatic year, a good year. Oh, I didn't mention 5210. Let me just jump on that. That sort of, because so much of our work to get kids and families on a healthier path is done through the schools. We lost a little bit of ground on 5210, but they have a brand new coordinator, and we are looking forward to getting fully back to speed in 2021 with 5210, Let's Move Missoula. So throughout the new abnormal, you all continue to support us. The community response to COVID-19 and just to help us sustain our regular work was profound. I think it goes without saying that another issue that COVID-19 didn't create, but has highlighted, are the deep fault lines of inequity in our country. And in response, our United Way reaffirmed our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion in all of our policies and programs. We oppose all forms of racism and are developing and executing a formal training of education, training, and outreach to live those values, to be an actively anti-racist organization. We continue our commitment to working every day in every possible way for a better, stronger, healthier Missoula for everybody, because we all win when we all win. With that, again, just a thank you to our amazing board of directors, my terrific colleagues. I think there's a slide of them. This is Team United, our 3 part-time colleagues on the right side of your screen. Excuse me, on the left side of your screen, or the left side of my screen. And then all of the people who work every day, they are superstars, all of them. And like me, they believe that best is the standard. and they give their best to me and our community every single day. And I always get a little choked up when I talk about them. I also want to thank my incoming, well, if he gets elected, we'll see, incoming board president, Mike Nugent of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Montana Properties, for sponsoring the printing and mailing of our annual report and today's annual meeting. Oh, and our COVID report as well. If you haven't received your report in the mail, you should any day now. I got mine last Friday, or you'll get it in the next day or so. But thank you, Mike, for stepping up and for hosting today. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh, Susan, you're welcome. I just would say we're proud at Berkshire Hathaway to be sponsoring this event and to be a partner with United Way. And, you know, I think we recognize that to make serious impact in the community, you know, sometimes you have to face things that can be controversial. And we're proud to stand with Susan and with the staff and with the board on all their hard work this year and every year. And, you know, hope to continue on forward to make Missoula a great place to be. So Susan, back to you.
Thanks. I think we're doing board elections now. So I think it's you. I think it's kind of a hybrid. You start and then I'll follow.
Absolutely. So board members are elected during United Way's annual meeting. All members are invited to participate in the vote, and members are anybody who's donated any amount during the past year. So that's everybody on this call. We'll vote in a few minutes through the chat feature in Zoom. But first, you can see up on the screen, there are slides. There's a slide with our nominees for new board members. We have 5 new board members nominees: Elise Guest, Robert Hamilton, Murray Pierce, Katie Stevens, and Dan White. And then while their pictures are up, I'm going to have Susan tell you a little bit about each one of them.
I am happy to do that. So many of you might recognize Elise Guest, not just because she's a 4th generation Montanan, but because she's the Director of Curriculum and Instruction at Missoula County Public Schools, and a tireless champion for our kids and for education. And her daughter is in Imagination Library. Elise has worked around the world, ranging from experience as a Peace Corps volunteer in Malawi to an elementary school principal in Singapore. She has her doctorate in education and a master's degree in special ed and 2 bachelor's degrees, one in English and one in French. And we are just thrilled. We work very closely with MCPS on a number of fronts, and we're thrilled to have Elise joining us. Every board needs human resource expertise, and we are delighted that Robert Hamilton, who is the Executive Director of Human Resources, Education, and Employee Health at Community Medical Center, is joining our board. Robert has a long background in enormous healthcare organizations, in HR leadership for those organizations in California, in Seattle, and he has a bachelor's degree in social work, which always comes in handy at United Way. And he's a strong United Way supporter ever since he came to town. And we're just thrilled to have Robert joining us. Many of you know Murray Pierce, hopefully not professionally, because he is the program director of the Youth Court's community supervision programs. Also, Murray is at the University of Montana, the special assistant to the vice provost for student success. He is tasked with providing campus and community-wide support for students of African descent. He has a long history of good work in designing youth justice programs centering on juvenile detention alternatives and cultural competencies. He writes and lectures. He has a lot of community service, including most recently being a founder of the Montana Black Collective Missoula, which I am proud to say operates under the fiscal sponsorship of our United Way. He has won a number of awards, including the Montana Racial Equity Project's Racial Justice Champion Award. And he always tells me that he's too busy to do anything, and yet he seems to always do whatever we ask. So we're very grateful to Murray too. Katie Stevens, I first met when she worked for Garden City Harvest. She is also a lifelong Missoulian who works as an appraiser at Stevens and Company. She has a background in community development, and as I said, at Garden City Harvest. She too was a Peace Corps volunteer in Azerbaijan. I love that her bio says her household includes her husband, daughter, and numerous animals. So welcome, Katie. Thank you for joining us. And then finally, many of you know and are very excited about Dan White and the new Shields store. Shields is coming to Missoula. Dan started in 2013 at Shields in Sioux Falls. He moved to Texas to open, quote unquote, the world's largest sporting goods store, a 331,000 square foot Shields store. He then came back to Moorhead, Minnesota, where he was for just 4 months before he got the call to come to Missoula. United Way is a company-wide priority for Shields. They have a long history of supporting United Way. And in fact, in Fargo, North Dakota, my colleague Erin informed me, they were the largest campaign contributor to the United Way of Fargo. So we're really excited. They've already agreed to field a team for our Day of Action this year. And he describes it, he says that he and his wife are married. He and his wife have been married for 11 years and have 3 great rambunctious kids. So we are very, very excited to have these new board members on the board. And we're also going to be re-electing 3 board members. So Mike, do you want to take it from here?
Absolutely. And we're excited that they've all agreed to join us. As Susan mentioned, we have a slate of candidates with these 5 new individuals and 3 current board members we're going to elect for a second term, as you can see down at the bottom of the slide. This motion comes from our executive committee as a seconded motion to elect the following to 3-year terms on the United Way Board of Directors. The terms are 2021 through 2024. To vote for this slate, please type yes or yay into the chat box and hit enter. If you do not want to approve this slate, please type no or nay into the chat box and hit enter. And if you want to refrain from voting, you can hit abstain. And so just give us a moment to tally the votes and we'll be right back. And I noticed somebody in the chat box asked who could vote. Anybody who's donated to the United Way in the last year is eligible to vote.
Betsy Mulligan-Dake is voting twice. Let the record show.
I'll allow it.
That's good. Appears it's going to be a close vote here, so it's good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to vote.
You can just say yay.
Yay.
All right.
Thank you, Sue.
So we have voice affirmation and a whole lot of yay votes. So I feel confident in saying the motion has passed. Congratulations to all our new and returning board members, and thank you so much for your willingness to serve United Way for the next 3 years. And with that, Susan, I'm going to send it back to you.
Thanks, Mike. Perfecting a little routine. We should, take our show on the road, add a short interpretive dance and a song. And so again, thank you so much to our all of our board members, including the ones who've just been elected and the ones who are being re-elected and everybody else. We also at our annual meeting thank our outgoing board members who have termed off the board. And we have 3 community champions who have served the maximum 2 consecutive 3-year terms. Melissa and I were able to thank 2 of them. We're coming for you, Mark Thane. We gave them a small token of our affection, which is a handmade pot that we get from Opportunity Resources, inscribed with their name and with a plant in it. And that's sort of symbolic of how they helped us grow over the last several years. So first, Beth Berman Frazee, who was a former United Way development director, a longtime volunteer, chaired our 85th anniversary celebration, served from 2015 to 2021. And in your free time, Beth, we assume that you will continue to volunteer for us. Again, Mark Thane, former Missoula County Public Schools Superintendent and now State Representative in Helena, served from 2015 to 2021. Very grateful to him. And Dwight Schulte, I couldn't resist the picture of Dwight in his Live United mask. Attorney Dwight Schulte, he has been on our board since 2012. Until now, he was our president from 2018 to 2019. He has been just a wonderful friend to United Way and to me personally. And it's kind of hard to imagine United Way and our board without Dwight. He also is the board member who, above all, hates the little introductory exercise that we do at every board meeting. So I'm sure, Dwight, you will not miss the question of the month as we go around the room. And then, of course, Melissa Matassis-Stone, we are very grateful that she is staying on one more year. With all of the turmoil of the last year, it didn't feel like the right time to give out many awards, but we did have the opportunity to present the Sue Talbot Award for Outstanding Volunteer Service to Melissa Matassis-Stone. It's named after our longtime supporter and volunteer and voice voter today, Sue Talbot, legendary Missoulian. And Sue and I were able to surprise Melissa with the award. And more on that in a minute, but we got to go to her office and we arranged for her husband to be there. And, you know, honestly, I often make fun of organizations that give awards to their own, but Melissa truly deserves this award, not just for her longtime dedicated service to United Way. She is the only board member, certainly in my tenure of almost 15 years, who served 2 consecutive terms, went off for a year, and then we brought her back because we knew that she was a future leader, and she certainly has been that for us. She and her husband, Kobe, also have chaired our Resource Development Committee. And this past year, she, in her professional life, was promoted to co-CEO of WGM Group. And we really could think of nobody more qualified for this award than Melissa Matassis-Stone. P.S. I don't know what was going on with my hair in that picture, but it was just a great honor to give her, first of all, a gavel. We give gavels to our outgoing board presidents, even though they have no use for a gavel now that they're not the board president, but it's just a thing that we do, and the actual Sue Talbot Award. So thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Kobe. Thank you, WGM Group, for keeping this secret so we could surprise Melissa. And again, thanks for staying on the board for one more year as our immediate past president. And now I believe I will turn it over to the aforementioned Melissa Matassis-Stone.
Thank you. I thought I wasn't going to get choked up because I was about a week ago at this time, and yet you've got me again. So thank you for the kind words. I'm honored and in really good company. In closing, thank you for joining us today. With the board members, including those just elected, please stay on for a quick board meeting. Those of you who have just termed off the board, you don't need to stay unless, of course, Dwight, you'd like to join us for an icebreaker. Everyone else, please have a nice rest of your day and stay tuned for more on our 90th anniversary plans this summer. Take care.
Thank you all. Heartfelt gratitude from all of us at United Way, including for being with us today. We look forward to working with you in the future to make Missoula better, stronger, and healthier. For all you do. And board members, please stay on, and staff.